Hey, I'm Jake Watkins, and this is my YouTube channel, such as it is, where I talk about high tech stuff. And in this case, we're going to talk about peptides. Even though I don't want this to be a peptide channel, but we're talking about peptides right now, even so. Before we get into it, I want to make it very clear this is not medical advice. This is just me rambling on about peptides, my experience with what I'm doing, and my opinions. Nothing more. If you're taking medical advice from a redneck like me, God help you. Anyway, to get to my first point with this all, before you start jabbing strange things into your body or taking strange pills you buy over the internet, go talk to your doctor. Okay? Now, your doctor may not do peptides. That's fine. He's your general practitioner. You want to get your blood done. If you're of age, you should probably have a colonoscopy done. You want to do everything you can to catch any bad things. Starts with a C, ends with you dying. So go talk to your doctor. And you should be able to talk to him about the fact that, hey, I want to take these peptides to do these things. And they may or may not be able to work with you, and you should be able to get them to say, don't put that in my record. I don't want the insurance company seeing this. If your doctor's not able to help you, I'm not sponsored. I don't get any money. I pay them money. The Cell Spa in Trophy Club, Texas, they'll do video visits. They will be quite happy to talk to you. They even work with a compounding pharmacy. They can sell you a lot of this stuff from an actual compounding pharmacy, not a research website on the internet. Even though I know you're going to buy from the research site. Everybody knows you're going to. But I was watching a video by Dr. Ashley Frazee. I think I'm saying her last name right. She has a channel, This Is Not Covered. I highly recommend go check out her videos after you watch all of mine. Watch all of my videos, then go watch hers. But anyway, she was just talking about this, and it's like, look, you want to make sure you're healthy before you do this stuff. And I get it. Some people looking at something like retatrutide, you may be in a bad place health-wise, but you want to make sure everything else is on solid footing, or as a solid footing as you can. You want to avoid the big C. So do all the tests you can get a hold of and go from there. So, got that established. Next piece is in comments, which, by the way, you guys have been great, or people have been great. They've been commenting on my videos. I've had some wonderful conversations. I love that. It's really cool. I'm kind of blown away by it. And the fact that I've grown past 400 subs is kind of cool. I'm reading my notes, by the way. So one of the things that comes up is people will be talking about the peptides and how much you should take and blah, blah, blah. First thing I'm going to tell you is be consistent about the units of measure you're using. Everything's in the metric system. I get that. But I see people talking about microcentigrams and milligrams. Well, the vials that I get anyway are all measured in milligrams. And the bacteriostatic water is milliliters. I suggest you use those two units of measure. Don't go switching around. Yes, I know it's just moving the decimal place around, but it gets confusing and you can get off on your dosage because you switched something around and you're thinking one thing and you're measuring with another. Don't do that. I would suggest keep everything in milligrams and milliliters and leave it alone. Don't go for the MCG. Just convert the MCG to milligrams. 1,000 MCG equals 1 milligram. Done. Okay. So next thing is, like I said, all of my stuff comes in 10 milligrams. Well, I get one thing in 5 milligrams, but everything else is in 10 milligrams. Most of my things, there's two different ratios I use. Go to peptidecalculator.com to let it do the math for you. But I either use a 2-to-1, meaning 2 of milliliters to 1 of whatever it is in the vial, or 3 to 1. So like with BPC, I do 2 to 1. So I'll put 2 milliliters, 2 milliliters of bacteriostatic water into the vial, which contains 10 milligrams of BPC powder. Then I don't have an insulin syringe with me, but this is an insulin syringe now. Those little hashes, each one of those is 1 unit. 1 unit is 0.01 milliliters. Yeah, that's right. So 10 units is 0.1 milliliters. With the way that I'm diluting this, at 10, I'm getting a half, 0.5 milligrams. So if I'm going to shoot 1 milligram of BPC into me, almost rhymes, I'm going to shoot 20 units. Now, in the case of the rat, I'm doing a 3 to 1, and that's because I messed up. I should have gone to 4 milligrams, but I stayed down at 2 milligrams, and that's a whole other discussion. But I only did 2 milligrams a week of the rat, retatrutide, and I divided it into 3 shots. So I did a 3 to 1, so that I'm always shooting 20 units. I always set stuff up for 20 units. There's reasons I don't go above 20 units, but it's just, it's worked well for me. And that's kind of the whole anecdotal thing where this has worked for me. And so I don't mess with it. It's like being Rain Man. This works, we leave it alone. And as long as it works, don't touch it. It's like writing software, right? So that's my thing. Go use Peptide Calculator to help you out with the math so you're not having to do it yourself, and keep your units consistent. Don't jack around switching stuff around. Milligrams, milliliters, done. No more. So the next piece is the GLP-1s, which I almost should do a longer video on this, but I've turned into the typical CrossFitter. How do you know? How do you know that you've met a CrossFitter? You don't have to worry about it. They'll tell you. Well, there's a reason. It works. There's one issue with CrossFit, and stay with me here. All CrossFit gyms aren't the same. I think I must have gotten extraordinarily lucky with CrossFit Flower Mound. It's an excellent gym. It has a good atmosphere. They don't think that they're training Navy SEALs or any shit like that. They get it. They're teaching. The people, the members of the community are realtors, software developers, teachers, soccer moms, and so on. We've got retirees in there. None of us are dropping behind enemy lines, snooping and pooping and conducting raids or any crap like that. We're just normie people who are fit. That's it. So, with tying this back to the GLP-1s, a GLP-1 should be a part of a wider strategy of changing your life. If you're in a position, and I'm not criticizing, or I do not shame anybody here. It's just you've got yourself into this position and you've made the decision to do something as radical as take a GLP-1, whether it's Ozempic, tirzepatide, what is that, Zepbound? I forget what the brand name is, Wegovy, all of those things. I think they're all wonderful. I'm not going to criticize. But when you hear oh my God, people are losing lean muscle mass, they're having all of these side effects and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, if all you're doing is jabbing this stuff into your body, yeah, and it's some of the dosages, which is part of the reason why I stayed at 2 milligrams, which I'll concede was probably a mistake. But, they get pretty high up there in the amount that they're shooting with Zepbound and Ozempic and all like that. If you're not also getting yourself active, if you're not developing a fitness routine, if you're not working in the kitchen, to change your nutrition, this stuff's not going to work. Yes, you'll lose weight as long as you're on it, but you can't stay on it forever. You eventually have to come back off. And if you can find a good CrossFit community, they can support you and help you be successful. And so that all of the money that you're spending, because a lot of these things, even, retatrutide through the research websites that you don't buy from, right? It's still kind of expensive. I've spent a fair amount of money, buying this stuff. So, you want all of it. So make it a part of a wider program to get what you're after. You didn't just see this stuff and decide, you're sticking a needle in your body. Who does that? So go lift a weight. And you don't have to do CrossFit. There's 1,000 different ways you can work out. I'm just saying, from what I've seen, CrossFit's the easy button. Why? When I got started, and that was back in 2019, the reason I was doing it is I show up and I just do what the coach says. Now, there's some thinking. It's like, okay, and I had a good coach, or the coaches, plural, at the gym were smart and they didn't do anything stupid. So yeah, you got to pay attention. If the coach is starting to tell you to do stuff and you're like, dude, I can't do that, go with that and find another gym. But it is, in general, hit the easy button and just show up. All you got to do is show up and do what they say, and you'll get a good result. I have, anyway. And if you have questions, please, I'm delighted to help, because, I think this is the way to do it. Next piece. Well, just kind of wrapping this up, it's, with, I forgot, like nutrition. So just going with the whole thing with the GLP-1s, my experience, I haven't had any of the bad side effects. What I did have was my taste has changed. So I have a huge sweet tooth, or I did. But now, like, I would make a protein shake with chocolate milk and a protein powder. I used From a lot. It's too sweet now. I can't. It's horrible. Oreo cookies are too sweet now. I just can't. I don't have an explanation for it. Now, at the same time, I've changed my breakfast to where I eat, probably close to a pound of fruit. So strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, a banana. I'll have an English muffin or a bagel, which is part of the reason why hitting my protein number each day. The reason why I did have some lean muscle mass loss, even though I'm working out all the time, was I just wasn't consuming. I'm in a calorie deficit because of the rat, and I'm not getting enough protein in. I was getting plenty of fiber, and I've gotten to where I eat a ton of fruit now, which is somewhat different for me. I've got this new habit where that's what I eat, and all of my food, I don't generally eat dinner anymore. I'll eat a fairly large breakfast, and then we'll have a somewhat large lunch, and then I might have a core power when we get home from the gym, and that's it. So, the other piece to it is your nutrition. You have to change that. You can't just keep eating the same foods. We don't eat out very much at all anymore. I cook every day, and multiple times. I just smoked a brisket and a turkey breast, and we'll be eating on that for weeks at the rate we go now. And also, like, celebration, it's funny. When you celebrate, what do? You go out to eat. Your birthday, go out to eat. Think about that. It's kind of interesting when you start looking at it, So anyway, to conclude this, because I've been talking a long time, I just want to be very clear. You need to be careful with all of these things, the GLP-1s, all of the wonderful peptides. They're all great, but this is the Wild West, and we're playing with stuff that's not necessarily FDA approved. And here's the thing, I don't want the government's involvement. I think big pharma can anyway. Um, we're adults. We can make informed choices, do the research, spend the time, watch other people on YouTube, go read go find research papers on the peptides that you want to use, and take the time to understand this is what's going to happen. These are possible side effects. This is the good, the bad. Talk to the doctors. Take the time. It's worth it. Um, you know, and to live a longer, healthier life, increase your health span, not just your lifespan, but be able to be active. Next year, my goal is to get back on the track on my motorcycle. I want to drag my knee around the corners again. I want to get fast. And these are tools to help make sure that happens. I want to be 90 years old, dragging my knee at Eagles Canyon. Okay. And just my knee, not the rest of me. So big boy rules apply, and big girl rules apply too, as the case may be. So anyway, I've nattered on long enough. I'm going to wish you a good evening, and hope you'll click on my other videos. I'm not just going to talk peptides, and I've got another one coming out. We're going to be talking about AI on the Macintosh. Macintosh, God. Anyway, good evening. Talk to you later.